Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633. We're taking a look at another electronic Bladebuilders review. This time we're going to take a look at Rey's lightsaber based on the lightsaber that was featured in Force Awakens that was held both by Rey and Finn earlier in the film. Now, just before we go on to the lightsaber designs, it seems like Hasbro is once again reverting back to the original design of the lightsaber, where the actual emitter box is actually back to its original design. I'm not really that big of a lightsaber nerd, but I can tell the difference between the two lightsabers, at least. In Revenge of the Sith, as we've seen in the basic review that I've already done of Anakin's lightsaber, this part here has been altered back to its original design compared to the other emitter box that was seen on the other version. Now, other differences include this bubble. It's a little different, and they added a little bit of the little designs all around the ring of the lightsaber itself. This piece is also different, but this particular part of the lightsaber has varied throughout the various different releases of the actual lightsaber toys, so it's just kind of a varying thing in design. Just to show a comparison between the two, here is the basic lightsaber, which I've already reviewed of Anakin Skywalker, versus Rey. This lightsaber. As you can see, the blade itself, well, the hilt, try to say, it's about the same, except for the fact that this is a lot longer, so it's a little bit more in-scale prop just by hilt-wise. Well, this one's a lot shorter. However, the blade is definitely longer on this release versus this basic release. So we're just going to take this off to the side and take a look directly at the lightsaber itself. Before that, we're going to take a look at the box. Now, the box is in the standard lightsaber Bladebuilders box that we've seen up to this point. It has a picture of Rey holding the lightsaber, and it also follows on the side of the box here. Shows that it can extend to 22 inches. So it's still a pretty good length, I guess, for a kid. Not so much an adult, but it's okay for, I think, personally, for a kid's toy. So we're just going to take this off the side here. Now, we're taking a look at the lightsaber itself. It does still feel really nice in the hand, even though it is a little bit shorter compared to the basic Bladebuilders release, but it can extend like normal, and it does work really nicely. I still think it looks really nice, even in hand, for an adult. We're just going to take a look at the lights on the lightsaber now. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I still think it works really well, even if the blade light doesn't really extend that far. But as you can see, it still has the swinging sound, as normal as standard in lightsabers we've seen. This one seems to be a little less sensitive compared to the other ones that I've gotten. And it does have the same hit sound. Sometimes it doesn't work, but so yeah, it does work really nicely, I still think. So we're just going to turn it off. So, electronics aside, it's pretty much the same, just with obviously a different lightsaber. Now, it does include the adapter as normal. You can attach it to the end. And, just to show a comparison as we've seen it earlier, we're just going to extend the standard release of the lightsaber. Flicker it. And hopefully I'll try to get it in camera a little better. As you can see, it does still extend pretty well. And I think it looks nice even with them together. We're just going to take one last look at the lightsaber compared to the basic release. And this time we're going to take a look at the actual blade lengths compared to each other here. So we're just going to quickly detach it. And here's how the blades look like together. As you can see, while the hilt has once again longer, the blade itself is still shorter. So I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword there. If you want a better hilt, you're going to have a shorter blade here. But if you want the longer blade, it seems like the hilt has to be shorter just by the way they designed it. But I still think it looks really nice. Anyways, I'll be back to show a comparison with the other electronic lightsabers that I currently own up to this point. And here is the three Bladebuilders electronic lightsabers that I currently own side by side. As you can see, it's pretty good scale next to the Kylo Ren lightsaber, the Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi lightsaber, and obviously the Rey lightsaber right here too. What's also cool is that since it is the same lightsaber, it is still a pretty good scale between the two lightsabers in general for Luke as well, so it does work for multiple purposes. Now, I really think they look really nice together. I think they did a really nice job creating these lightsabers, even though they still have the holes at the end of them. For at least the Rey lightsaber, it's a lot less out in the open. With these, as you can see, you do see the holes at the bottom as normal. But for this one, because of the way the hilt is designed with all the ends here, and just the way that the lightsaber in general is designed, it's not as noticeable compared to these, since these just have standard kind of hilts. As you can see, these are quite noticeable compared to the Rey lightsaber. Here's how they all look like when the light's off, so we're just going to quickly activate them side by side, and look how they look like together when they're fully lit up. Sorry, I accidentally turned this around, so let's get this started. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it actually looks pretty nice. The only problem with I could see with the Rey one is that, as you can see, the light is a bit weak compared to the other two lightsabers. Just the way the way that the hilts were made, this particular light doesn't really like to go through it that well. As you can see, it stops quite early on compared to even the Luke one, which, while it does kind of stop, it still tries to continue just a little bit further into the end. The best one I still think that between the three is the Kylo Ren one, but this does work really nicely together, so we're just going to quickly turn this one off and just see a little comparison when they clash. So, I think these lightsabers do their purpose to do a full-on clashing sounds when they're activated to represent the two lightsabers that were featured in the film. Just going to quickly turn this off and now go directly the final thoughts with this lightsaber here. So we'll turn this off. Now we're just going to take away these two lightsabers and put them off to the side for a little bit as we look at the final thoughts of just the standard Rey lightsaber here. Now the Rey lightsaber is actually a really impressive lightsaber. I really did like the look of the Anakin / Luke hilt. And while, as I mentioned earlier, this part here, it's very annoying that Hasbro is continuously changing just the way that the design of the lightsaber is. Obviously, it tries to be a little bit more in continuity with the original 3 films that were released in theaters, which would mean episodes 4 through 6, but it is a bit obnoxious that this particular blade has went through some of the biggest changes out of all the lightsabers featured in film media. It makes sense that the prop is actually a really long-lasting prop for just the film series and so on, so I can understand why there's a lot of differences between the different features of the actual lightsaber when it's used in the films, but it is still kind of just a nitpick of mine that it really does kind of bother me. But regardless, this is a really nice lightsaber, and I really enjoy that I finally got a hold of this lightsaber. It was quite of a nuisance to find in stores ever since its first spotting and so on. It seemed like I was actually surprised that this seemed to be one of the hardest lightsabers to get. It's kind of understandable due to the nature of what the lightsaber is and because it is the lightsaber of the main character, but since a lot of other lightsabers were at least coming out in stores, I hopefully thought that this would have a little bit better distribution, but obviously I was completely wrong on that. But I still really recommend this lightsaber, and I really enjoy what Hasbro's done to bring forth a electronic release of this lightsaber, and I highly recommend this even if you do have the standard basic version, since it is technically a different hilt design. Anyways, please comment and subscribe and check out Hirotaku. Also, please check me out on Twitter under Darkon633, and please check down the other channels down below. And I'll be back to bring more Star Wars reviews, but for now, I'll be seeing you YouTube. Bye.